personality, the cult of personality, the cult of personality.
Welcome to the Cult of Personality podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Mikeymcchoppa. And with us today is a very special guest, a new face. Welcome to Season 7. Today with me is Objectt.
What's up, dude?
What's up, my guy? I'm very excited for this one.
I'm dying. That's what's going on. I'm smoking ports on the podcast, bro. I'm locked in. Newport Pleasure on the podcast.
We're keeping it real New York right now.
Yeah, no, type shit.
Newport's.
All I need is like Tim's.
Some Tim's and a big black puffer.
Yeah, I have a puffer. It's kind of colorful. What's like Don Julio is like the.
Yeah, Don Julio's in
like
right now.
That's
the
like,
new Hennessy.
That's like, yeah, the new Hennessy is Don Julio. That's like the God.
And before that, it was Casamigos for a little bit.
I'm like White Rabbit in 8 Mile, bro. I'm choking up on the podcast. I can't get my thoughts out. Fucking, yeah, that's like the flagship drink of New York City.
Yeah, I know. Don Julio Actifulio is what the kids say nowadays. I'm not much of a drinker. Hold on, I put this charger in.
Yeah, you're a hippie, dude.
I'm a beer guy. I smoke and beer. That's me. Hold on. Here we go.
Beer?
Yep.
I think beer is more like dad, kind of like chiller.
Yeah, you know, I don't know, it hits me right. I don't like when I drink like heavy alcohol. It's
like
just
my dad, big beer guy.
Yeah.
Big beer guy, classic New York City resident. He grew up like in Flatbush and kind of like I don't even know what the neighborhood's called. Like kind of near like Clark Street, like that Brooklyn area.
Yeah.
Whatever. I sound like a fool, but and he's like classic New York guy. My dad actually had like a hip hop apparel brand back in the day, and he like in the mystery of chess boxing by Wu-Tang, they're all in hoodies outfitted by my dad and his company.
Yeah.
And so he was like a real part of the culture of like New York and like rap hip hop culture. And growing up, he was like a beer guy, you know,
yeah.
big beer guy. But then, you know, you're a dad. You know, sorry, Dad. You put on some weight and stuff from the beer.
Yeah, the
and
beer belly.
And my dad likes, you know, his grape sodas and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, and like, you know, he likes fast food too. How could you not? Like, you grow up here and you like, you like shitty food. And then now he's like on the White Claws. And like one time I called them white girls, and he like ran with that. He always calls them white girls now because I called White Claws white girls one time. He was like, you really did something when you called the White Claws the white girls.
I need a pack of white girls ASAP.
People love the White Claws.
I'm not a fan of White Claws.
Really? Well, you're more of a beer guy.
Yeah. You know, like, I don't know what it is. I just don't like I don't like the feeling of like something that's like super processed or like artificial or like flavored, you know?
Right, because it's basically like some weird...
It's like a seltzer...
Fox kind of faux kind of vodka drink.
Literally. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. Like, I don't know. And then also, my partner, she's like allergic to like the like processed alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, so she can only drink
That's
shit.
intriguing.
Yeah, she can.
Is she like gluten free too?
No, no. It's just like I don't know what it is. It's just like she could drink beer, she could drink tequila, she could drink anything that's like agave or like from the earth. But like once
tequila is like good, bro.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't drink anymore. I'm sober. I'm sober for over a year.
Real shit. Congrats.
Thank you. And I've been like kind of on a path of like in and out of sobriety and like 12-step programs since I was like 20 years old. But I'd definitely say like there's just something that drew me, because I did love alcohol, was like Jägermeister and like tequila.
Yeah.
As where vodka is just like terrible, bro.
Yeah, I'm not. No.
And I like Jameson too. I like whiskey for some reason. I think whiskey is like preferable to vodka. Like it is very intense, but I would say in my experience back in the day, I would say that like, I don't know, whiskey just kind of has like a culture and like a history to it too.
Yeah, 100%. That's the way that I do like alcohol, like in the way that every like type of alcohol has their own story and where they come from and where it's popular.
Very, very interesting, right? It's kind of like intertwined with like cultures of like all sorts of like indigenous areas. Like I mean, whiskey is like what? Whiskey's like Scottish and Irish, I would assume, right?
I think so. I would say like Scottish probably. I know, and then you think of beer and you think of like Irish, German, and then Mexican. But
I mean,
they
were obviously
influenced
like
by the Germans.
their own beers, and then obviously like I remember, dude. I mean, I don't even know. Let's just say that like someone who was with us on a family trip was like going into downtown Dublin when we were in Ireland when I was 18.
Yeah.
To get like IPAs.
Yeah.
Cause like they don't really now probably they do, but at that time, and my dad was like, it's so offensive because like Indian Pale Ale is like part of like it's like an oppressive thing. It's like they made Indian Pale Ale when like I believe when England was like occupying
India.
Yeah. And they wanted like their own beers.
That's like how Domino Sugar came to be.
And I think like also because it's like I don't know, something with how they fermented it down there or something. I don't know. I wish I was well schooled on like the entire history of like IPAs. But I do know. Also one thing that I learned in high school, we were kind of talking about this before we aired, was like DOLE, I think it is like the fruit company or something.
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
super in like early American imperialism in like Hawaii.
Yeah,
he was like the governor of Hawaii or something like that.
Bro, that's real shit, and that's what I was just about to say. Like with the Domino Sugar Company, it was the same shit. They were like the American Sugar Company or something, and they literally like, it was like slave labor in Puerto Rico and like all the islands in the Caribbean. They were for sugar.
Yeah,
shit's fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, alcohol's a crazy conversation right now. We just fucking touched on some shit, but
yeah, it's like everything has a story.
Everything does have a story.
Today is the object
today
story.
Yeah, I was about to say, and I was like, you know what? And today's the object story. Literally, like, you're a pretty ominous, mysterious guy. Even though you every time we, this is like the second time we linked up in person, but we talk a lot. We have a lot of dialogue.
We chatted up on the DMs.
And you're a chatty guy, but you're also a very mysterious guy.
You think I'm mysterious?
I think you're mysterious.
I think I'm just learning to promote myself. It's like my type of shit is like I'm always like. From the time I was young, I got the guitar here. It's like I started with guitar, and then I broke up with one of my exes, Chloe, and it like inspired me to like sing. I was like, I'm gonna do like emo, folk stuff.
Yeah.
And I just kind of started belting and like stuff like that, and I kind of learned and built singing from there with like various small things and technique and just like more so like trial and error,
right?
More than anything,
right?
And I've always just been like, because. When I was in my addiction with Xanax, and for me, because I'm bipolar, with like weed, like I wasn't even like realizing when I was young, and I was a huge stoner. I mean, how could you live in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and like not smoke hella weed? You know what I mean? Not 100%. Have. And this is like old school. This is before weed was legal, where you had the weed. So you had your Budman, and you're like, I really want to smoke weed, and you have to wait like a fucking hour or 2 hours for them to get to you, type situation, and you're fiending. You know what I mean? I know that sounds crazy, but I would like fiend for weed.
Yeah, by that time, like by the time the plug gets there, you're like, yo, I really need this fucking bud right now.
I mean, it's crazy because it's like, it wasn't even the plug. You know what I mean? It was more like the bud man or the dealer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My weed guy. And it's cool. They're musicians too. I hope they're doing good. They were really chill.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see them kind of like, oh, I always had aspirations of being a rapper, and they're rappers. And like they're giving me weed.
Yeah, and, I love when shit like that happens. Like.
So when I was like early in my addiction, I spent a lot of time alone, and I would just like. I think I don't think it's a misnomer whatsoever, but I think like a common thing for musicians, like, all right, get teed or get like fucked up, or get as fucked up as possible in some situations, and then I'll write like my masterpiece, like my great work. Yeah. So that's like a lot of my young years was just like sitting there, smoke some weed, and try to write like a really cool like technical death metal riff or something like that, and that was like opened my exploration. I'll say I was like very fortunate to have my parents put me and my brother first in like a music school that was an offshoot of the School of Rock.
Oh shit!
It was called Tomatoes House of Rock.
Nice.
And it was like cool because we'd get in these positions to like play these shows, and in for some of the summer programs, like record at studios,
Right.
and it's like you're learning songs, you're playing songs, and like very early, you're like learning to become a better musician. And I think I really wish stuff like that was like, the funding wasn't cut off for that for so much, because in my experience, a lot of the stuff that I kind of fall back on today was like stuff I learned really early on as a musician.
Right.
Is in terms of like learning. So yeah, I just feel I was really blessed to have that. The music school had also exposed me to like touring metal musicians who would like come in and like teach me stuff on guitar.
Right.
So my whole kind of world of music was shaped by like pretty cool, and some of them even legendary, like people like Alex Skolnick from Testament.
That's sick, bro. And not is the cat over there?
Yeah, no, it's a slingshot.
It's lit though, because like that's a dope opportunity, to go to any sort of like school where you could really indulge yourself, like your creativity,
Yeah, totally. Like explore and just kind of figure out, I don't know, where you sit in the mix, what you want to do. It's like it started off with like, all right, we're just doing covers, and then like that guy's a drummer. Before it was like
finding a strong.
It's really funny. My brother is also a rapper, and he's a little bit more established.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually on the Radar at one point.
Oh shit, that's
dope.
dope.
Yeah, he's cool. He's like very inspired by like Action Bronson. I think we were all inspired by like Ab Soul, like early TDE and like Pro Era and stuff like that. He's a huge Capital Steez guy. I would say that's the biggest rapper for him personally, formatively, and I was like super into that stuff too. And he was a drummer, I was a guitarist. He was in music school first, and we tried to do like him, Miles, our friend Keegan, I think on bass. Tried to do a band where we're gonna call it like the last name, kind of like a Van Halen thing. We're gonna call it Veal. Was like the running thing. I think maybe they had like another name, but I was like, no, it should be called Veal.
Yeah.
And it just never worked out. Like me and my brother doing stuff together, because I was a bad older brother, honestly. And from there, I locked in with homie Leo Dudkowski. I think he works with. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not like super caught up with bro, but I think he was doing something with this one black metal band that's really like fire. They were like, they had something, and I think he was touring with them, or their drummer for a time. He had a band with his dad, but we were working on our thing, and we had my boy Eddie on guitar, who I still like talk to almost every day.
Oh yeah!
Today.
Shout out Eddie.
Shout out Eddie Jacob Ellis, and like we were that was the first band. That was like the first serious band. Recorded stuff. Like we have 2 EPs that are like still on Bandcamp to this day.
Hey.
And that was like death metal inspired by like, for me, like a big one was like Decapitated, which was really interesting because again, like Decapitated is like 2 brothers from Poland, and like I was talking to you about Pantera before, who was like the foundation of Pantera was 2 brothers, and they were kind of like death metal,
right?
Pantera,
right?
Getting this groove metal, kind of like technical death metal shit. And so it was really inspired by like Decapitated, so like a lot of like diminished kind of stuff shifted more into like the harmonic minor to kind of have like the more stuff. And so it started off like super diminished, like Slayery kind of stuff. Like Slayer has that like and that's like a harmonic minor thing, but if you go up in that shape of like a, oh, I did it wrong. It's like all a mix mash of like, it's basically the way you walk up in the scales, like root, second, minor second, major second, minor second. It's all running up that. So it's basically like composed of like minor seconds. So when we did Diabolicus, one of the first things I think we wrote was like, I was like inspired by The Matrix. I was like, we're gonna do a concept album about like humans being fuel for machines or something.
Right.
And it was like kind of like, what was it? Was it? Like,
bro's playing some hard shit on acoustic.
It's like fields of existence.
Hey.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like all stuff like that. So that's where we kind of like started off. And my playing was like, I was like, all right, Decapited's doing like this diminished thing. I was like, I'll just do diminished shit forever. So like kind of slayery kind of stuff. And it was really cool. And you even see the progress of like from our first EP to our second EP. Like we went, the first one was Fields of Existence, and then we did like Pillars of Artemis. And you'd see us like kind of branching out more. Like we had like, I think we had Blind, which, and we also switched, like Eddie did more lyrics, and Eddie had like some,
it's all good.
He's like, what was it? So we're still doing like the diminished stuff with like Blind and stuff, but I'm trying to remember, and even like Angel, which was like we were gonna do like a big music video for that, but it's just like never panned out. I was like, that, so it's still like that diminished thing of like that tritone. Even like that, if I could play it right, even like that, what is it? Something like, so like Pantera and stuff like that. Always that's been like a thing in metal. I think you could even find it in like some Metallica stuff. Is like kind of like, you know, you have like the Black Sabbath thing of like the
we're
ominous,
like spaced out.
Ominous.
I fuck with Black Sabbath. Gangster.
Yeah, but a lot of that's like it's all off the back of blues.
Yeah,
which is really
100%.
cool. Like American music is like totally off of blues. You know, it was like a blues. You know, like, you know, fucking Zeppelin stealing songs from like these black blues musicians, like a big thing, and it's like, you know, a lot of America's history is like, a lot of American music is like built off of black musicians and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
it doesn't get acknowledged.
Yeah, and I think just like predating that, I mean, obviously you go back to any culture or anything like Africa, Puerto Rico, Ireland, there's like folk music or like indigenous music. But I think like the main stuff was like you had like the classical stuff, and then like American blues kind of changed. It changed everything. It was like, it was the jumping off point for like R&B, soul, funk, rock.
Real shit.
And rock was like the thing.
Yeah.
Before rap. Rap's like the new rock.
Yeah.
It was rock. It was all like blues based music.
And my favorite thing is like listening to an old blues song or whatever, like whether it's like fucking like Little Richie or Little Ricky, whatever his name is, or something.
Little Richard.
Little Richard, yeah.
Is that how you say it?
I think so. And like fucking even like, you know, Ike Turner, without talking about his fucking actual terribleness, but like, you know, music.
Oh yeah,
and
some
stuff.
of them were cooked. There was who's homie who like married his 15-year-old cousin who was like Jerry Lee Lewis. I don't know if that's
whomever. I don't even want to know.
One of them like dated her. And then even goated guy. Who was the goated guy? Chuck Berry. And then he like had cameras in bathrooms to like watch girls. But he was like fried out when he was like 70 doing this. But who knows what he was doing
He
before.
sung Johnny Be Good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like made famous by like
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, which is fire.
Yeah. And my thing, what I like about blues is like watching the solos of like in blues, and then like realizing how those transmute or translate to like different genres. Like a punk solo is like a blues solo. It's just like way sped up with some crazy, you know, with some crazy shit on it. Or at least I could see like how the relationship is.
Right.
There,
yeah. Like
know?
A lot of that. I don't know if this is like detracting to the podcast or we're just kind of chilling, but a lot of that punk shit was like what even was like Blitzkrieg Bop was like.
I think it's, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna play Green Day. Like,
it's almost like
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of that, like.
But I think it's like a loop. I think it's literally like 5 some shit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I know I can do the Green Day.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of is Blitzkrieg Bop in a way.
It kind of is, yeah. Like,
but it's a lot of. We started a punk band. You know what I mean?
Yo, bro, that's it. That's it.
There's a lot of that, like power chords. But they were saying, YouTube, like the advent of YouTube, like some guy was saying that like everybody plays like I don't know some like Blitzkrieg Bop or some Ramon songs like, but they're actually playing like.
Yeah, they're hitting it over and over.
Like they're hitting like Maybe, and you wouldn't hear it because they're just like.
Yeah.
Like really
and then they also
really digging in
whatever effects
and stuff like that.
Hell
and then
yeah.
Also, you got the Blink-182, like, you know, that's like really cool because it like brought it more musical, like.
Yeah, like the melancholy, like fucking sounds and like slowing it down a little, you know. Also like picking it up, sound wise.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of like type. What is it? What is it?
Oh yeah.
I'll play it down here so it sounds less cooked.
I feel like I'm like fucking in middle school again. Blink-182 and Green Day for real.
Yeah, no, I mean, bro, I think people like this girl I talked to, who's a lovely lady, was like she was like posting about like Jesus of Suburbia, and I'm like, yo, like American Idiot kind of did like change everything for me.
Yeah.
Like people, I think undervalue like anybody who's like 20 something, like 23 to like my age, like 28, it's like Green Day was like huge, bro. Like it was, that American Idiot album
100%
was like a huge introduction to like music. I remember being like a kid and being super into that.
I really feel like it was like the mainstream's introduction to like this like not like punk attitude, because we obviously had like grunge and shit like that beforehand.
Right. But there was like a huge like. It's like statement-y.
It turned people's heads, yeah. Like people
don't want to be an American idiot.
Especially like right.
And I guess you could like play that to like protest Trump now at this point. You know what I mean?
And that's what they do. They perform it to like protest. They recently protested Elon as well with that song, but especially like in the political.
The new villain.
Yeah.
We're actually recording this right off the back of Elon Musk hitting a certain gesture.
Bro hit a crazy salute on the presidential inauguration.
At an inauguration, and the internet. I feel like if you know a guy, they're probably posting an Instagram story about that. You know anyone,
bro. We have Nazis in office in the United States in 2025. I don't know what was on your bingo card for this year, but mark it off. What was I gonna say though? With Green Day too, they dropped that album in a very weird political climate, like, you know, with
it was Bush, right?
Bush, and you know, like right after I know it's 2005, it was right after 9/11. Like, you know, you're still facing like the Islamophobia in this country,
right.
and like, you know, it's hella bugged out shit. So it was like a real eye opener,
right? And like a big thing, and that kind of can tie back into like more of my early story. It was like 2 albums that were very highly like almost censored. Were you had like Toxicity by System of a Down.
Good one.
Which came out, I think it came out on the day, or like really close to. And people were really broken up because everybody knows Chop Suey. Like, I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. And like the self-righteous suicide, like people were like political people and stuff like that were kind of like thrown off by that.
Yeah.
Like, they thought it was like, you know what I mean, like sus.
Yeah. Especially like with the nature of the event.
And also, when I was in high school, obviously, I mean, so this is whatever. This is like 20. I'm trying to remember. What's my age again? Like literally. So I'm like, let's say I'm like 18. So it'd be like 2014.
Okay.
And like a little bit before that, 2013, 2012. This is when I'm like smoking weed in Prospect Park. Total vibe. I wish that was like still
a great vibe.
Still a thing. There's like a whole kind of commerce and kind of situation of that.
If you find a good spot in Prospect,
5 on it, literally like was actually a thing, kind of. And it is nice. Even so low, you find like a nice little spot.
Yep.
smoke weed, suddenly the chemistry of your brain changes. You're thinking, what if aliens are real? I don't know. Whatever you're
it's
thinking.
like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, you're going a little solo adventure. Like one of Staggy's favorite songs that I have that's unreleased is I have a line where I'm like posted by the pier where time moves slow, and that's kind of like I live in the city and I go to like the water.
Yeah.
And I just listen to like one of my favorite artists who's like an underground kind of guy named Dion, or like something like that. And I'm just listening to music by the water. I was thinking of like my samurai Jedi Knight type arc, like going to the water and kind of like as a form of meditation. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna actually do shit. I was like overworked at this time with like studio work, and this was like I'm doing shit for myself. I'm gonna small if I could even squeeze in a little bit of self-care. And so like that kind of ties into it too, like obviously now because I'm sober, but going on these solo adventures for yourself, especially living in a place where you can kind of do that here. I'm sure people like in whatever North Carolina or whatever drive to some spot and kind of chill, waterfall, whatever. And doing shit like that for yourself is like paramount, because you're like putting yourself in a position to kind of deal with all the things you deal with the human condition, but you're in a new environment. You're kind of like solo. Even more beautiful when you like share it with a partner or something like that. And you're just chilling. You just got like something really cool going on. I find stuff like that, and it's cool. I'm sure, as you know, when you get busy, you like hardly have time for shit like that. So, but back to the stuff was like I was a huge Immortal Technique head in high school. I was like, I'm gonna make music like Immortal Technique. I was like, I'm politically charged kind of stuff, which still exists. You know what I mean? People that are kind of like in the same lane as like stuff that my brother makes, like Marlon Craft and stuff like that, have like politically charged music stuff, and that's kind of what rap, a huge genesis of what it was like kind of like it's a commentary on life as it is.
Especially
largely political at times.
Especially from like the black and brown experience,
For sure.
People forget that, like, I know, like, and it's so funny, like, not to be random, but like there's like a whole debate of like, oh, hip hop and who was the originator of hip hop, whether Puerto Ricans were involved or not. I'm like, bro, that shit started in New York City in the South Bronx, where like you like this like.
Well, actually, I've heard that it was actually Brooklyn.
Really?
Yeah, it was like it's either Brooklyn or the Bronx around the same time.
That's gonna be a fucking war.
No, for real. Like people doing. I think it started with like the DJing.
Yeah, the breakdancing and stuff.
Speeding up records, right?
I wouldn't be like funk records and shit. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like,
and then probably mixing in like other beats.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a same wave, like or like like if both were coming up with the same shit at the same time. But like I think so many Bronx heads would be so upset to hear that because you hear like Sedgwick Ave was where it started, sure. But in that time in the fucking late 70s to the 80s, the fucking police and South Bronx was literally, bro, the South Bronx, like the buildings were being burnt down so they can claim like insurance and shit. So it was like a wasteland. Lot of
craziness.
Yeah, so of course like their attitude definitely comes very politically charged.
Yeah, again, like dope. Big shout out to old Robert Moses for all those sort of problems that exist in New York.
Yep.
So the reason we don't have the Dodgers, bro.
Yo, bro, that fucking pisses me off. I mean, maybe we didn't need
now they're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, and we got beat by them in the fucking series.
Oh, you're a Yankee guy? I'm a Mets guy. Yeah. So sorry about Soto.
It's okay. I'm not even like too big into sports, but I was born in the Bronx, so I'm a Bronx bomber. You feel me?
You gotta pull for your Yanks. I totally understand.
Lena, though, my partner, she fucks with the Mets, so that's always a funny thing. We went to my family gathering the other fucking back in the summertime.
City Field is tough.
Yo, my dad lives right by City Field, and it's like bugged out over there. I like it over there. But we went to a family gathering, and my family was like asking my partner, like, yo, you Mets or Yankees?
Oh, wow. She got impressed.
She got pressed at the family function. It was in the Bronx and shit.
Pressed at the unction.
Pressed at the unction. But, shout out Yankees.
I guess we could talk about, I had a relationship with a partner. Their name was Maria, and it was like a long distance thing. Met in Nashville, and we went to like a Mets game when we were spending time together towards the tail end of our relationship, and I actually have a song kind of talks about that a little bit, that whole relationship.
Oh shit.
So outside of like rap, I've always been like an acoustic guy. Like I said, with like the breakup with my ex partner Chloe, or girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into like singing and stuff, songwriting. And I would say a huge inspiration of that is this band from like Indianapolis, Indiana, maybe, called Margot and the Nuclear So and So's. I could actually play one of their songs too at some point. And that was introduced by my cousin Milan.
Oh shit.
Milan, she was like singing, and she sang one of their shows. Oddly enough, at the one of the Thor things.
Mm-hmm.
So like my cousins from that side, via marriage, Hazel was her mother with Rishi, and then Rishi remarried and had 2 children, Delia and Aiden, who I've worked with in a musical capacity. They're unbelievably talented musicians.
That's so lit.
And some stuff that I'm not going to talk about because it's like for other artists where we're doing stuff.
Right.
I don't know when they want to kind of
keep it classified.
Yeah, when they want to kind of keep it out. But Aiden, we have like a whole cousin band. I could bust out some of those tunes. This is a tune for that band. You know, we got an opportunity to play right by Studio 404, which I work out of, in this like cool basement of this Caffeine Underground. I don't know if you've ever been.
Yeah.
And we did like 2 of the songs we wrote, and it was just really nice. We played this song live twice on back of Aiden Puntez, unbelievable singer-songwriter, my younger cousin.
Oh shit.
So it'll be a set of like 4 or 5 of his tunes, and then we'll do 2 of the stuff that we wrote for the band, which we still are like arguing over a name about.
Yeah.
They wanted cousin Eric because the bassist, his name is Eric, and we're all cousins except for him. And I was like, no, dude, we have to have something that's like has force, or like
something that
stands. Sticks.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? How many bands do you think you've been a part of in your entire life?
So there's like real ones, or like
real ones. You don't have to like include like
Diabolicus, Obstrepery. Even though Obstrepery, I could play that if we have some way of doing that. Death metal, technical death metal. I would count my band with my homies. Shout outs Dario and Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Smile Eyes. We have an EP up, so I guess it technically counts.
Hell yeah.
With me singing on it, even though I think I only wrote 1 song on that EP. Even though we were like workshopping like other stuff, but that was cool. So like I came back from like rehab, and I was like 20, 21 years old, maybe 22, and I'd just pull up to Dario's, and we would like smoke cigs in his crib. It was fire. Yeah. And just like work on like emo-y kind of folk stuff.
Hell yeah.
So that'd be band number 3. And then there's the cousin band. So I guess it's 4. 4 like legitimate ones, you know what I mean? Songs that I can remember.
Right.
I think there is one from like the defunct family band, like kind of thing.
Right.
Again, diminished, but I didn't write that. It's actually the homie Miles.
Hell yeah, shout out Miles.
He's fire, bro. He's a great man. But yeah, I'll play this song. It's called In June because it's like, you know, they came down in June to be with my family, and I went up kind of like late June or early July to be with their family upstate. Right. And it kind of encapsulates. There's a period of time where I was like writing a lot of like acoustic material, right? Even though I had the rap stuff, and early reflections of like the once I finally got on a good setup, because I was like rocking like you. I was doing like GarageBand with like GarageBand stock tune.
Yeah. For
like my like more emo inspired, like the Little Peep inspired, Juice WRLD, XXXTentacion inspired. Before my evolution kind of continued.
You know.
But that's so. I was writing a lot of songs about them because there was a lot of like turmoil in the relationship with like they were going to school and stuff,
right? And
it's, you know, going through like a breakup with someone that you really care about and you really want to make work with, right? Is really, it could be like the spawn of something. Any sort of issue or any sort of matter of fact of life, that's you really care about or you're really interested in,
right,
I really feel like is the catalyst or the foundation for building something that's really special.
Yeah, 100%.
So, could I just let this rip? You think it'd be?
Do it.
All right.
Go for it.
It's in a different key than on the record.
Yeah. We don't have a capo today.
It's like it's throwing me off so much.
No worries.
In June, came down to the city. In June, see me and my family. In June, sat out in City Field. In June, by the big red apple. In June, whispered to you and I said, I wish this never would have to end. In June, wish it could last forever. In June, last time we were together. Never knew how much you meant to me. You never knew day you walked in, you changed my life. From there you knew how much you meant to me. From there you knew day you walked in, you changed my life.
Woo! I got an applause right here.
December, institutions we both been through. December, on the other side of it, but I still miss you. December means nothing if I can't hold you. December kills me how much I need you. January came back to the city to chase you. January found you navigating passing cars. January walking through Harlem as the snow fell. January it leads me back to gladly walk through this hell. You never knew how much you meant to me. You never knew day you walked in, you changed my life. If only you knew how much you meant to me. If only you knew day you walked in, you changed my life. I wish you knew for all I'm ashamed of. I wish you knew I can finally say I'm proud. Be who I am, stand on my 2 feet, and I wish you knew you saved my life.
Gangster, bro.
You like that?
That shit was sick.
One?
That was dope. I like that shit.
Yeah,
thank you.
I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
You have good taste, so it means a lot.
Yo, bro. Man, thank you, number one. And number two, like, I think you're really cool. Like, yo, bro, you know what? Before we get into the big question of the podcast, before we get there,
what's the big question? I'm scared now.
It's just, finding, like, it's just like the trademark question, but we're not there yet. the trademark, the one that's on the
like
all
your
Instagrams.
Joe Rogan DMT rant.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you, like, where did you find, like,
chilly up in the McChoppa household?
Yeah, we got all the windows open, so the wind's just coming through.
It's kind of like a good vibe. All right, but sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay. Where do you find, like, or where did you realize, like, yo, I'm just creating all the time, no matter what, unapologetically, like,
right.
you know, because I feel like a lot of people, including myself, are like insecure, scared to start.
So the thing is a huge fact out of past the song with Staggy and my song with my one friend Snow McKenzie that came out last year. I really got derailed with putting music out there and building myself up,
Right.
because I struggle just like I think any artist does. I think it's even possible that like even like a Kanye West or like a Drake or anybody who's like sort of this huge personality with like a lot of ego attached and seems like supreme self-confidence.
Right.
I would assume there has to be like there is like a part of me that's equally self-doubtful and self-critical of the material I do. Like even there, like I've sung the song better. It's not in the original key of it. And yeah, it's really hard to push past that. I think it's like a carpe diem kind of thing, like seize the day,
Right.
C'est la vie kind of thing.
You
know, now or never type situation. Never say never, Justin Bieber. You gotta go for it. Right?
Hell
you
yeah.
gotta like go for it, and it's okay because even being caught up on going for it, is equally as important to going for it, because it's a process of you getting there. Because I think, look, even someone that wanted to do this, wanted to do that on their deathbed, wishing they did, I mean, there's still parts of their story in their life.
Right.
Which is like a huge thing. And, like, you know, I get skitzed out or tweaked out even thinking about it. But, you know, the fact that this is all, from our understanding, finite, I believe otherwise. But, we got this one for sure. We got this one for sure. Right. So some people believe this is all there is, and most people spread their wings in some shape or another. Even if it's like you write a song on you, say you've written songs on the acoustic, bro. Even if you play that song like one day at like a family function.
Well, actually, you know what? I never written anything on an acoustic. I've only ever did like written on like beats, you know, like YouTube beats. Yeah. Now I'm getting into the experimenting with instrumentals.
Yeah, so whatever, as long as like you show that song to one my level's lower than you just because I did the song.
Oh no, hold on,
am I tweaking?
Let me bring that up. Yeah,
so as long as like someone hears the song,
right,
it's still like impactful on someone else's story and someone else's life. I feel like that's kind of the theme, is like story. So, you know, obviously for you, for anyone, I would implore someone to go for it. It's really funny because, like, you know, last year I made good money working freelance as a contractor for the studio, doing session work, session guitar, and session production.
Right.
And, you know, I would say I've probably contributed more to, like, other people who like struggle with the same things as I do, in terms of like putting stuff out there and stuff like that. But in my time at Studio 404, I've probably been involved with more songs that are not my song per se, even if it's like a feature, which I would say it's still kind of my song, but it's like that's someone else's vision, 100%. Like collaborating with my homie Ardor Aaron out of the studio. Like I did 2 tracks with him that came out, and I worked on a song with this really talented artist, you know, who's in a variety of stuff, soul, funk, Afrobeat, Koopa, that came out, where I did guitar for it. And I'm sure there's one other that I'm missing, but either equally or more, I worked on other people's stuff as opposed to my own. And that's easier because it's like, it's not your baby and it's not your burden to bear of like, is this perfect?
Right.
Is this,
you could be like a little
is this like, bar corny? Whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's more so, there's even a time where I was working on this pretty big single because we had like Aaron invested a lot in the music video for both songs that we did music videos for that he put out, and Bitter Machine did really cool, and we also worked with Father Koi on that one, and she's wildly talented artist. And there was me, he's like, it's good, and I'm like, bro, like, I gotta re-record this part. Like, that's me, you know what I mean? That's my thing, but I also feel like it's my superpower. And my guitarist Boris will tell me that I'm like maybe the bane of his existence, because I'm like, no, like hold off on working on the death metal album, like our great death metal album, which is really fire, and I think it's got something different to say. And he'll be like, me being like, nah, like, we gotta cook on this, or like the same thing, being a perfectionist. Oh, your riff that you wrote is not good enough. I was always kind of like that in the bands, and I do think it's helpful, obviously. And now we're like ripping off the Band-Aid to where like, we're working out of 404 on having Aaron like tracking guitars and hopefully getting a session drummer involved, because drummers are really hard to come by for that style of music.
Yeah.
And like to see the evolution of like kind of those like Slayer-y, diminished power chordy riffs to like what we're doing now is night and day. And I think it just goes to show, if like you do immerse your, like, I would love to get to the point where I'm like some sort of musical great. I will openly say that with no shame. You know what I mean? I would love to make something amazing that kind of stands the test of time.
Right.
But I'm not there yet, and I would confidently say like even the evolution and listening to like a Diabolicus song, which in its own right, it's like it's not that it's bad. I mean, it's fire. It's like a fire death metal song. You were kind of bobbing your head to it.
Hell yeah.
It's got some movement, but the new stuff is more like taking on more complex and convoluted compositions,
right,
and stuff like that. And even like, for my personal taste, like I'd rather listen to like an In June like that I just played, as opposed to like one of my old death metal bands.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like the old homies that were in it, like Leo and like Eddie has his own band, Further Beyond, where he does all the stuff.
Right.
And I'm sure he's bumping Further more, and Leo's like bumping more of like his band with his dad, or like the bands that he's in than our old stuff, because like you evolve as a musician.
Right.
And like I think always, maybe there's like a rare example of someone who just like cooked on a crazy level, but you're always more invested, and you always think the new stuff is the best stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's cool now that you mentioned like also like the evolution with time of your sound, because I did like when you were playing In June, like I really did like the little twangs and little like licks you added in there like towards the end.
Yeah. Bro, so that's cool. I love explaining guitar, but on the record, which I'll show you and I'll send it to you so you can listen to.
Yeah.
There's like one that's like. And then what is it?
I'm getting like from first to last vibes.
Yeah, no, sort of. I was thinking more like McGee or like Midwest for sure.
Yeah.
I love From First to Last, and that's like a cool story to talk about too. But there's like a layer there, and I would love. Yeah, there's a period where like there's a period of time where like I was really invested in like playing.
Drop D.
Yeah, like where I was really invested in playing, but I'm gonna have to move it. What is it? This is gonna be so out of key because this guitar is cooked. So it's like, what is it? This is not mine. Oh wait, guitar. I need to do it in this key. Oh God, I'm literally an amateur there. Say goodnight to the voices in your head. Heard them anyway.
Oh, I like that shit at the bottom.
Just being seen. I can't hit that note, but yeah, right now. With practice, I could like anybody could hit almost any note.
Hell
but
yeah!
So I was getting into like super, like that's like a Faceless, which is huge technical death metal inspiration.
Right.
So you're over here doing like this, whatever, this kind of triplety 3/4 arpeggio, and you're singing over it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like into like, I was in a position where I was playing more guitar, based on like whether I'm working on more like beats, compositions, or like more like guitar stuff where I'm like I have full capability to be up there like Mohammed Shweishmez from like Necrophagus and playing like neoclassical stuff while like singing.
Right.
I wish I was like better at the growling and the screaming. There was like a huge influence in like early stuff like Bitter Machines and stuff like, and it'll always be present. But I just want to like put my music in a position where it's accessible to build some sort of platform with the stuff I've been working on in the last year, and yeah, it's just all about practice. It's just about dedication and practice. Like anyone could kind of like, I don't know, like all theory is stuff I've picked up from like talking to people, YouTube videos. I just knew scales,
right?
And I memorized scales all over the fretboard, and anyone can do that. And of course, there's a different learning curve for everyone. And numbers was like a huge thing, like looking at tablature.
Yeah,
numbers was a huge thing for me as a kid, and that's what helped me incredibly. But yeah, so the Objectt stuff is cool because it was kind of like emo, hyper poppy.
Hold that thought, because now this is where we get into the trademark question. Objectt.
Yeah.
The name.
Yeah.
The image. The aura. And the energy.
The aura.
Yeah. Pretty much just kind of tell us, like, dive into Objectt, how you came up with the name, like, and, like, what you were about to say right now, because I know we talked about the bands and everything you've done.
Yeah.
But
honestly, I wish I didn't talk about that so much. I don't know.
No, it's okay. I think it was really sick.
Yeah, so Objectt is just the name I came up with in high school, and I was cool. I was like, oh, like, objectified, being an object, not being a person.
Yeah.
Almost, I don't know. You could, like, it's one of those things where, like, I don't really know, bro. It's just something I came up with that I thought was cool. But I could sit here and be like, well, Objectt is, like, the persona is, like, completely different. You know what I mean? Even though it's not, like, it's about me. You know what I mean? But I could be like, Objectt is, like, an object. It's, like, different.
Yeah.
Objectt as an artist. Objectt as an artist is like the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? I could sit here and be like, because it's like not a person or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not anything, just an object.
Yeah. And I had to put 2 T's to kind of negate copyright stuff.
Really?
But it kind of looks hard, I think.
I think so.
So yeah, so Objectt. The genesis of it was super inspired by like Little Peep stuff. Nav was a huge influence.
Fucking love Nav.
Love Nav. I have a song that's yet to be released that I'll put you on to, where I did like a total, because I produce too, so
yeah,
did like a Nav thing where I had some pads and I like reversed them to get that like classic like our first album, the SoundCloud kind of Nav sound. Post Malone, whatever, like, you know what I mean, just being a rapper that sings, basically. And for a long time it was like I was super depressed, or I was like a dry drunk, as they'd call it in the program, where I was like sober but I was just like down bad, you know what I mean, and I was like super inspired by Alice in Chains, one of my all-time biggest things, and I was like on this idea of like, if we just make this kind of like self-loathing, self-pity kind of music, it's gonna be like genius, and I'll be rich and I'll be happy and all my dreams will come true.
Will go away.
But it evolved more to be like, all right, we'll talk about relationships with girls, and we'll talk about like, I'm making money now, so we'll talk about like financial accomplishments, financial goals, and there's also like a lot, you'd be surprised, so this is really funny, there's a lot of like fent and like kind of like heroin bars, like, but in a flexy way. Yeah. Which is kind of like a shout out. I've had a lot of homies that passed out to overdose. So I'll be like, whatever, like there's one song where I'm like, I hit like a pressed pill as a bar, and I'm like, and I'll just be like stuff like that, and that's kind of like an homage almost to like all my homies that got in deep with that shit, or all my homies that like got sober that were on that shit. It's never been a part of my story, but there's little things that are like cool. I call stuff, don't ban me from the podcast. I call shit retarded.
Yeah.
On songs, I'm like, we should be able to say retarded on songs.
I mean, like it's. I'm like, I don't know. I've always been very neutral about that because like if you're offended by it, and you're offended by it. I think when it comes to people who are affected by the word using it, like reclaiming it,
but
like,
if you look at rap, bro, there's like, I have crazy bars, but there's like bars that are just like.
No, yeah, there's some crazy bars.
Like famous.
Yeah, when it comes to artistically, I mean, we've had Tyler the Creator do rape bars and it get completely like passed. So I don't think.
Yeah, and obviously he's also like shock value.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think like the R
word's
the worst thing in hip hop.
There is like the famous Dex also doing for shock value. There's that one famous Dex. He's like, I see your bitch and I take her. I see your bitch and I rape her. I'm like, bro, what is? I'm like, why were you?
No, if you're not gonna cancel that, then I don't think you should be so upset about the R word.
Yeah, I mean, I think rap's always been a place where it's like, this is free expression.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's all art.
Creative license to say whatever. Kanye.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he did it like with more class.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know actually. I wouldn't say that, but bro, on Forever, he's like, I came in this bitch young. You could call it statutory, and like that's like,
it's
bro,
clever.
That's like a song that's like in a LeBron documentary.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Kanye,
but that's Kanye. I
fuck with Kanye.
I fuck with Kanye because he always. I mean, obviously he got cooked. You know what I mean? He rescinded the Jewish shit.
Yeah.
I think the Jewish shit was funny, even though it was bad and detrimental. But something about that, like when he's like, I'm not gonna say what kind of doctor it was. It was a Jewish doctor. Like that shit's funny, bro. Like I just think that shit's funny, like because it's so cooked. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like it's like so unbelievable what's coming out this guy's mouth. It's funny, but also like I realize, like I don't think what people realize is that like Kanye's mentally ill.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
these
for
people
sure.
are like catching him in like splits and like meltdowns and like
right.
and it's
bipolar
like,
manic episodes.
Yeah, and it's like this shit.
Which is I hate to be like I'm like Kanye, but I'm bipolar, and I'd say like it kind of gets to the place where like you're really amped up, and then like you don't sleep, and that's like kind of what triggers this like split or set, like you were saying, separation from reality.
Right.
And that's a huge part of my process. Is like I would always get manic when I was recording these songs. I would always stay at the studio, like not sleep because I'm geeked on like energy drinks or some shit.
Right.
And it's just something that like I just have taken Advil PM if I don't, and I have like a prescribed medication for sleep, and I just make a point to sleep because I just think like it's alright to get like a little like whatever you call it, like hypomanic, like amped up on like some caffeine or like some sort of stimulant.
Right.
But then like normal, you know what I mean? And I think bro would just like totally geek out, and that's always where we would get his kind of stuff. And he's very opposed to being medicated.
Yeah.
Which that's his. At the end of the day, that's his choice. That's his own preference. And it's not like he's
I'm never gonna blame anybody for feeling that way.
He's not at risk of dying.
Right.
But obviously he's at risk of like fucking shit up and being detrimental.
Yeah, like self-sabotage and shit. But I can never blame anyone for being against modern medication just because like big pharma is like a big fuck.
I'm on like a lot of medications, but I'm sure there's there's like side effects.
Yeah,
If you look at my hands, like I shake a little bit, you see like there's little like crooks and like my hands kind of curl up.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know. Again, we're gonna say retarded, but like I'll be like walking or like people will be like, "Why are your hands like?" I'm like, "My hands look just kind of retarded because the meds they like affect your nerves."
Right.
So, but whatever, man. I mean, it's my choice to be medicated. It vastly impacts my life. I could be a normal part of society. I could do my job at the studio. I can make the best music for me that you know what I mean. But I would be an advocate 100%, and I have been in local music communities to all my friends for like mental health support with depression, anxiety, any sort of mental illness on top of that, and obviously like addiction, like helping. I played a part in helping getting someone a scholarship to rehab.
Gangster.
That's one of my friends, and I would love to do that. I still have that connection to those people,
right?
And always open to doing that if I have some sort of relationship with a person and I can. You know what I mean? Because it is music and being a part of community and being a person in life is like you have the choice. Like you could be like I'm sticking with the McChoppa wave. Like, I'm gonna focus on my life. I'm a boss up. And sometimes that's the best for someone's own life. I'm boss up, get my money right, do my music, do my podcast.
Right.
Throw a couple racks on the podcast, build it up. Fuck everyone else. I got my partner. They're chill as shit. You know what I mean?
It's so funny you say that.
And you could do that too. That could be the primary focus.
Right.
But you could also like fully dive into or divert attention to like, I don't know, what if you woke up tomorrow and you're like, I would love to have my podcast and do my music, but I want to be like, I want to go to school to be a clinician. I want to go to school to be a therapist.
Yeah, you know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no one could fault you for that.
No. It's so crazy that you mentioned that too, because I do always sometimes have like the mental battle of like being so like not individualistic, because I'm about everything I do is all about like community at the end of the day, but like I come from like a weird perspective because I'm about community and like being around people and like helping people out, like music or like, you know, with the podcast, for example, like promo and shit. But I'm still like very to myself. And like when I do my music, it's very private. You know, I don't know. I'm not like a big collaborator and stuff like that. And like it always makes me feel like maybe I should like step out of that habit. Maybe I should like reach out and have people like help me with like producing or help me like be where I want to be musically. Because like, you know, musically I want to like,
could always come to the studio.
You feel me? Like, you know, we're having this convo and you're like, yeah, I help this person out. I help this person out. And I'm like, yo, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, I sit there with some artists and I work as kind of their, I don't want to say this like to diminish them, but like their cheerleader. You know, I work with my clients to be like, yes, like we'll work on this. This is worthy of being out there.
Right.
We'll redo the vocal, whatever. Like, I help ghostwrite for some clients. You know what I mean? I love doing that.
Hell yeah.
I love it because anything that just gets it done. And I think sometimes more heads on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where my music has thrived and where I feel like I'm making the absolute the best music is I have my homies Syntherion, Jalen, or Syntherion rather, excuse me. Syntherion, Jalen, John Cotton, Ardor and Aaron. And I work with all of them in capacity of like they engineer me and they record me, but they also sit there and they collaborate and they're like, cut a syllable here.
Right.
What if you did it like this?
Some like creative
help
feedback.
You with my timing, you know what I mean? All these sort of things. And I feel like having someone else there to help you is great. And 100% there are people that are just like Little Peep did. He had GarageBand and he had his preset and he just recorded himself.
Right.
And that's fine. But for people that like struggle with the self-doubt or whatever,
sometimes you need that push.
You just get help.
Yeah. And I think that's dope. Like, you know, and hearing all of this, I think it's cool what you do. And like, I could even like, I can only hope to be like a similar force to what you do in the community,
thanks,
you know?
Man. I mean, I think you do. I think you are. You do like an amazing thing of like, for me, for my homies, I've also seen like other people that I'm not aware of, you know, platforming, Astro, Friday, Unpolarized.
Shout out, y'all.
Yeah, and all the homies that make great music, and whether it's like you're giving them a platform to give more insight into their process and what they're about.
Word up. And it's so funny because I do it and I put it on a platform for people to watch, but I really at the end of the day do this for myself in the sense of like I just like listening to you guys talk about what you guys do.
That's cool. I wish I was a better listener at times. Like when you get into like helping people and being like a support in mental health and addiction. Yeah. You're like, fuck, I have to like
really tap in and listen
to people.
Yeah. You gotta be careful what you say too.
No, not even, but it's just like everybody has their defense. I'm the same way with things that I don't want to change and everything. It's like, so you're going to get, like, the excuses, the reasons why not.
Yep.
But you just have to sit there and, like, let someone feel like they're heard and validated.
Right.
Alongside with, you got to check people sometimes. So we need more of that, you know?
Right.
Because, like, realistically, you could say I should be doing something different about my music and... like, let's say you were like, bro, you should do more reels like this, or your music should be more like this, and I could be like, fuck you. But at the end of the day, you still said it, and maybe it'll have some effect on, my thing. And, like, so it's like, don't be afraid to check people, and don't be afraid to also not check people.
Yeah, because even if you say it, and even if they're not receptive to it in that moment, I think things very much stick in people's heads, and the next time they're making a song, they'll probably be like, maybe I should try
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Shit's dope, man. Oh yeah, where do we get to in the conversation? This has been a dope convo.
Yeah.
This has been sick.
I'm really enjoying it.
Hell yeah, and it's so funny because I knew this was gonna be like these are like, I don't know. I'm bittersweet because with the podcast, it's like I like when I get like the questions that I have in my head out or whatever. But I think I really enjoy these episodes where you kind of just start it and it just goes. And I knew it was gonna be like that because the first time we ever met, this was like a convo that we kind of had. We were just
we're talking about a lot of like politics and like what would you?
We were talking like music and politics.
Music, politics, oppression, things like that. You know, and that's something I also want. Like with getting into a moral technique in high school and like being in an alternative school and being exposed to like actually learning about history, how people should be learning about history. It was cool. Like it shaped who I am and how I look at the world. And my dad is very politically aware. I mean, there's stories about my dad I can't really talk about out of respect to him. But
fair enough.
You know, my dad is like experienced police brutality. You know what I mean? And some seen it. My dad is conscientious and cares about social and political issues. So from a young age, I was like made aware of like how the world is. You know what I mean?
Right. Which is dope. You need that insight. I think a lot of people actually face the opposite, which is like a sheltering or like, you know, a veil over their eyes.
People live in their own worlds.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's dope. You know, and where does that, talking about the politically charged energy and talking about like, because you mentioned the immortal technique stuff and then we kind of like went on a tangent. Sure. You know, how does how has your politically charged views affected your music in the past? And also like, how does it affect it now? Where do you see, you know, earlier before the pod, you were showing me these cool like politically charged Irish songs and shit like
Irish
that.
Folk songs, Damien Dempsey, which is a huge influence of my dad. You know, I don't know. I would love to get in there. I always thought about like saying like "fuck Israel" on a song in some way would be
gangster,
packaged in a way that's cool.
Yeah,
you know what
especially
I mean?
right now.
I mean, as it all started jumping on. I think even before there's like a full blown war.
100%. It's been a 75-year war and then some.
But I don't know. There's a song that's not out where I'm like dropping bombs like the IRA. You know what I mean? It's just little things like that.
Yeah.
But mostly my music is focused on creating like a mythos. Not really, because it's not like fake, but like creating like packaging me and like my confidence and my belief.
Right.
And making the best song the coolest song, the best song. I feel like people got away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you like, even though it's kind of corny now, you look at like Motley Crue or you even see the movie The Dirt. Like, yo, they were cool. They didn't give a shit. They're rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I would like people to have rock star energy without being like crash outs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, it's funny because like obviously the success music, it comes with like a lifestyle because you're making money and girls are throwing themselves at you and shit.
The late nights, the party, the this, the that. There's all sorts of like crazy stuff. Obviously the drugs are
but I
a huge
agree with
part
you
for people.
Because I think like at the end of the day, this body is your temple, and you're right. We only get one chance at that we know of, you know. Even though, you know, I believe everything is also infinite, but
yeah, I'm a big reincarnation.
Yeah, you know, some energy doesn't die. But that being said,
I believe kind of in like a reincarnation, but like you and I have met in a past life, and we will meet another. Without sounding like
100%.
You ever hear someone like tell you their life views, and you're just like, bro, like
no, yeah, anytime
you're like, bro, you're like schizophrenic. Like, what are you talking about?
I always believe people whenever they talk about like past life regressions or like things like that. I'm like, I fucking believe you, bro, 100%. I've been here before. You get into the conversation of like, have I been here more times than my mom, or like, have I been here more times?
I think everybody's been here equal times.
Yeah, you know,
in one
just
shape or another. Maybe there's other planets you've been on. I don't know.
True.
I don't know though.
True, that's facts.
I'm more so like an Earth humans guy.
Yeah.
We gotta, you know, I think we'll meet again, but I think we gotta make the most of like
what we got
where
here.
we are right here. And I do think that like sometimes it is as simple as like be a good friend.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Help people as they go through their own trials and tribulations that life prompts, whether it be like a breakup or like struggling with like imposter syndrome or whatever. Just be a support. You know what I mean? Because you never know how that's gonna be paid back to you. And you know what I mean? I think, you know, I was always just like good friend to one of my friends.
Right.
And I played the set, and I thought I bombed, and they came up to me and they're like, "That was fire."
Hell yeah!
Like even the littlest things like that.
We need these support systems.
Because like, that's the thing is like when I'm a good friend to someone, or I'm like a good brother or sister. Because I like when I talk about, and huge shout out to Studio 404. Who hopefully will be on the podcast. Aaron will be on the podcast at some point.
Hopefully.
Synthreon, Ardor, and JC, John Cotton. Like, I do consider them like my brothers and like family. Mm-hmm. And I consider Astro like my sibling. 100%.
Hell yeah. Shout out Astro. I think me and Astro had a dialogue recently of him coming on the pod in person. I think that'd be really sick. Man, it's fucking dope. What was I going to say?
Why is Alan FaceTiming me?
Oh, but my prior point before I lose it.
What's up, brother?
Are you trying to sell me something?
Yes.
I don't have money. Leave me alone.
This would last you forever, though.
All right, yeah, at some point. I'm on a podcast right now. I'm on my first podcast appearance ever. Well, that's like, that's OBJ's weed or Perky's. Yeah, call me more when it's not about selling me things. I love you. You're my friend. I had to pick that up because Alan never calls me, bro. Shout out. Alan is also involved on 404. He's a great show promoter, great human being. I hope he would get into acting. He's a really funny guy. That's another thing is I started working on a script in December of the year before last.
So 2023? Yeah.
I started working on a script and it's real like infant stages, but I have like scenes written out. I just don't know how to I just write it in my phone.
Yeah.
Because I know how to write. I've always been creative writing was also a strong suit in high school.
Oh shit.
And
nice.
I would love to act and make movies.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Bro,
you're a real creative individual.
I just love creating. And you know me, bro. Like we've talked about this. And I was kind of talking to you about the Robert Eggers stuff. Is I'm a real simp for just good art.
Hell yeah, me too.
I'm a fucking stan. You know what I mean?
Me fucking too.
Godfather, huge Godfather fan. Again with the retard bars, dude. I had one bar on another unreleased song. Who knows what'll come out? I was like, even Fredo's retarded ass almost got Michael whacked. You know what I mean? That's just something to tell you something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I love Godfather. Sopranos has kind of been ruined for me because my roommates kind of just are always playing it at some way, and I'm always this is fire.
Yeah.
But I'm the continuity of my viewing experience and stuff. Me and Alan have stayed up to 5 a.m. when I was trying to I was all right, I'm gonna give this.
Right.
You know what I mean? True Detective, I love. It's my favorite season of television ever. Obviously, I think you were the same. Breaking Bad.
That was Better Call Saul.
That was a big Breaking Bad guy. That was our thing. I was in high school or I was young. I was a kid and it was yo, this new episode is coming out. What's gonna happen
you were
next?
at a good age for that time period. I was fucking 10 when that shit ended.
Oh, but we got into it later. But I was watching it when it came out and shit.
Yeah.
And we all had shows like that.
Yeah.
And movies.
Hell yeah.
Big Star Wars guy.
How you feel about Goodfellas?
I just recently watched Goodfellas for the
It's a
first
good
time.
one.
It's pretty good. It's more it's less. It's not high. That's what's interesting about it. It's not high-ranking mob guys.
Right.
It's kind of low-level mob. It's mainly they're you know what I mean. Ray Liotta's character is half Italian, so he can't be.
Yeah, he can't be top guy.
Whatever. Well, he can't be made.
Yeah.
And De Niro is Irish.
Mm-hmm.
Those are real guys also.
Yeah.
But I think Scorsese is one of the best filmmakers ever. I was talking. He's made movies that are not as good as other movies for sure.
100%.
But
we all got our bad batch.
But making a movie is really hard. It's really easy to make a bad movie.
Yeah.
To think about how many times he's made great movies. I watched Mean Streets, which is his first real feature. It's an unbelievable film. I think Taxi Driver is unreal. I'm actually gonna look up his Wikipedia. I think some of his later stuff, Shutter Island, The Departed. I've rewatched The Departed a lot of times.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is obviously classic and amazing, and I'm glad that I finally watched it. But Scorsese, and then obviously I think his greatest recent triumph is The Wolf of Wall Street. Like that was just something that's something that we almost all people loved.
If you were to make a movie, what would you make it about?
It would be a pretty honest, but not too focused on the disparity of it. It would be about drug addiction. It would be. I already have it written.
Have you watched Requiem for a Dream?
Yeah.
Out of a Dream?
Yeah, I think my script kind of has like shades of that. It sucks to like be like, oh, I don't have the most original idea, but mine's more about like mine's about like two young kids from Long Beach, Staten Island, that get involved in like their addiction leads them to drug dealing and like down away, and it also tackles like the family angle of like a normal family dealing with
That would be
like, a drug
sick.
addiction.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said it. Maybe now I'm cooked and someone will steal it.
No, it's okay. We're already like probably an hour and change in. I don't think anybody's listening this far.
Yeah. maybe the day one homies.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But no.
That already have heard me yap about this.
None of the thief directors are listening right now. We're safe. But I think that'd be sick, because even though like you're like, oh yeah, I know it's not the most original idea. It's like substance abuse, just like anything else, is like an ongoing, reoccurring issue that people will always relate to. You know.
There's that movie with the young goat Tom Holland, Cherry or whatever, where he's a heroin addict. That looked good.
Yeah.
That looked good. I want to watch that. Obviously, Beautiful Boy is really good. It's more about the dad.
Yeah.
But that's great. Chalamet and Steve Carell. That's great. There's a lot of cool. I think honestly a great one is honestly that kind of like maybe it came out first and before I even had my idea, but Euphoria. I think Euphoria is.
I was just talking about that show the other day. Yo, that shit was bugged out.
It's good.
It's a good show.
It's great.
I think I'm gonna start watching it.
Season 2 is better than season 1.
I think I'm gonna check it out.
It's a little crazy with all like the.
I just think
all
it's
the like rapey part, the dad like fucking people that are transgender that are like underage.
Minors,
like, crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess you got to do that. I mean,
it's just like
you need some shit like that sometimes.
My only critique of that show always will be, why did they do it in high school? Why couldn't they just do it in college? Because they were wilding out a little for high school. But then I talked to my partner.
But then who really cares? You know what I mean?
I talked to my partner and she's like, yeah, but when you're a fucking adult, like you're not even like, like obviously there's people in their 20s who are acting like that, but.
But I mean, obviously there's like, even that is not, like, it's basically just Skins, bro.
Right, right,
no one was boycotting Skins.
Right.
When they tried to make it in America, and it was terrible, they did. They were like, "This is cooked." They're in high school. Why are they fucking? Why are they doing drugs?
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's like, that's what I was doing in high school.
I was about to say, I was
you know what I mean? I was a virgin. I was having sex, like doing drugs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, you might not like the way it sounds, but I think in the reality of America, that is like what a lot of high schoolers are doing. I remember there was kids in my high school doing fucking ketamine and shit already, like.
It's interesting. I don't think we were like, I'm a little older than you, so I don't think we even had cat.
Yeah, it was like upstate weird white kids.
I mean, my act. I don't want to say that. Actually, whatever. Some people were smoking crack.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Some people were smoking crack, and I was like weed guy. I was like weed, and I was doing my Xans.
Yeah, I was hitting carts.
I should have sold mine.
When I was
mind if we pause it so you just go to the bathroom real quick?
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. I'll probably talk anyway, like while you're here.
Yeah, talk about the sponsor.
Word. Yo, bro, our sponsor for today is
Reed's Weed.
Reed's Weed. Yo, come on, bro. Come on, hit me with that sponsor. Let me get like $10 an episode. I'll sponsor ya, for real. Be like, put the sticker on the laptop. What was I gonna say? That'd be sick to get some sponsors. We need to upgrade. Like, I do the podcast for free because I like to do it. But it'd be sick to see some sort of a reward from this, I hope there's not too much feedback or like back noise on this mic. I know I have it close to my mouth and shit, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to DS the audio. This pod's probably been going on for like almost 2 hours. We'll probably wrap it up soon. It's been a good time though. Shout out Objectt and shout out everybody. Season 7. I'm coming with a different, very focused, motivated energy for this season. Swag. We back.
I mean, that's like another thing is like just making the best songs possible.
Right.
Like 100%. Making the best art possible. Making something that's quality and good.
Over quantity, for real.
Quality and good. Like, I did... you haven't heard, like, a ton of my music, but you did hear that... I did send you that song, Selfish, right?
Yeah, you sent me
Did
a
you
couple
like it?
beats. Yeah. Everything you sent me was fucking solid as fuck. Like,
Thank you.
Fire. Like, you know, because sometimes people send you productions, like beats or whatever, or just unfinished demos, and you're like, oh, okay. Like,
Oh, yeah. No, this was the song.
Yeah, no.
Remember? Yeah,
Yeah.
there was, like, had the wrestling bar and shit like
yeah,
that.
Yeah. That shit was fire.
Because that was, like, kind of in my life, I was, like... You know, Iron Claude came out, but I was also, like... You know, showing up on my feed about, like, Kurt Angle and, like, John Cena and all these, like, wrestlers. Obviously, the horrible Chris Benoit memes and shit like that. But, like, you know, wrestling is still, at the end of the day, it's, like...
I think wrestling's peak right now.
Yeah, it seems fire right now. But I'm saying, like... That's a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard thing to do.
100%.
Harder than, arguably, other professional sports because the amount of performances they have to do. And what they're doing. And what they're doing. Their bodies just get, like, destroyed. So I was kind of like... You know, that was... And, like, no context, but, like, sacrificing your body for something.
100%.
You know what I mean? I think it was a great kind of, like, metaphor or allegory. You know what I mean? For music is, like... Because I sacrificed a lot of shit, and, you know, for a long time was, like, reserved to, like, I'm not going to do, like, normal job, like, it's not going to work out, or, like, hesitance to do that, or just not wanting to be a normal person, and wanting the art to be something that defines us.
Right.
And you do sacrifice a lot for your art, but that needs to exist. Like, I need to be able to talk about that in my music, but also realize, like, it's a blessing, because it's, like, introduced me to someone like you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know you're solid, and I know we could have good discussions, and we could enrich each other's lives. And it's exposed me to the guys at 404, which are, like, my brothers. And, like, also Boris, the guitarist in my my technical death metal band. We've been, like, best friends since I was, like, 17 years old. We went through our own struggles, and, like, maybe longest period was, like, a year we didn't talk, but we always knew we would come back. The goal was always to have an album and something to be proud of.
Right.
That's low-key more, and I could talk about this too, like, you get your duos in rap, right? You have your, like, Peep and Tracy, you know what I mean?
I think Outkast.
Yeah, or just, like, duo, and I've had relationships, one, who my first collaborator when I feel like I was starting to make solid music was my boy Verona. And we were, like, interlocked at the hip, like, we're gonna have whatever, we're doing a bunch of songs together. Then, you know, and then obviously me and Aaron had worked on about 3 or 4 songs together. Right. And we don't really anymore. We still work together on a lot of productions, mostly not our own stuff. I recently did some guitar for a new thing that he's gonna do. That's either gonna be him and someone else, a featured artist. Right. And I like working in that capacity with anyone, honestly, on a production level, because it's just like. But shout out my homie Young Basquiat. We have a lot of songs in the vault. Young Basquiat, I like that. Fire name.
Yeah, right. I like that.
Fire name.
That's dope.
Basquiat that's another thing. Like, that was an influential artist on me as a kid. You know 100%. What I mean? I always talked about this because someone came to the studio and they had a fire. They had, like, the dinosaur tattoo of Basquiat with the crown. Yeah. And that's the cover of Life Doesn't Frighten Me at All, which is a children's book that is a compilation posthumously, I think, or whatever, after he died. Right. Of Basquiat's art. And Maya Angelou did poetry over it, and I would read it as a kid. Oh, shit. And then my mom also took me to, like, some museums to check out, like, some Basquiat stuff. Yeah. Also. And, yeah, he's awesome. So shout out Young Basquiat. He chose that name because he wanted to, you know, capture that essence. He's a great artist. Hell yeah. And we have some unbelievable stuff. He's actually, I feel bad, bro. He hit me up, like, he was kind of locking in on his own shit for a while, and he just was going to the studio for the first time in a minute, and he was like, yo, pull up. And I wish I could have, but I felt like doing this was, like, really important because I've never really like done an interview before, and
yeah.
the spontaneity of it, and like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you were like, yo, let's do it tomorrow. I'm like, fuck it, let's do it tomorrow.
Yeah, no, you gotta like get after it. And that's another thing is like I got here earlier than I was supposed to be because like that's like the most beautiful thing about life ever is like you wake up and you can't wait to get to do what you're doing that day because you really care about it and you really want to do it.
Yep.
It's one of the most beautiful feelings.
100%.
Obviously, it's interacts with like anxiety and stuff like that. Like Aaron will be tight, like, yo, could you not show up like 2 hours early to like do like studio work? And I'm like, bro, like this is like what I want to do.
I want to do today, bro. Let me pull up.
This is like what I want to do, and I just love it, bro. So yeah, I mean, pulling up here and talking about it, and the object stuff is about. I think it was like super. It was like a building where it was in development for a long time.
Right.
For last year, where it was like. There were shines of like the single I did with Staggy, which, you know, I love. It was well received.
Hell yeah.
Well received by the homies and community and stuff. And then like Bad Way, which just kind of came about. It was just like, but I was experimenting a lot with like rock stuff. Obviously, I'm like really good at guitar, so like I wanted to do like, you know, I have this one song called like Death Metal that's just like me rapping over like some crazy like fast neoclassical like riff, and I would love to come back to that and finish that. Or it was called like Rockstar shit at some point.
That's
it's
dope.
like something I'm like a Machine Gun Kelly now.
Hell
it's
yeah.
Just like it's just some generic ass.
The genre jump.
Yeah, like some super, you know what I mean, like low, like, you know what I mean. You wouldn't think it's that imaginative.
Yeah.
But it is cool and stuff. And then like, you know, doing a lot of the guitar work I did with my clients and stuff. And yeah. But
How
then
long?
I got it really inspired by like Two Hollis. I was always, when Whole Lotta Red came out, that was huge.
Yeah.
Uzi's production.
Damn, when was that? Like Christmas 2021, 2020?
2018.
2018.
I think so. I might be tweaking.
Holy shit, what the fuck?
No, maybe I'm tweaking.
No,
maybe it was 2020.
I think that was Die Lit that 2018.
No, yeah. I just feel like Whole Lotta Red's been out forever.
It has been out for a long time. That's why I don't even know what year
because he never
it is.
puts out music. 2020, you were right.
Yeah, okay.
But that changed. I mean, it wasn't anything new, but it was like a new style of like using these synths and these drums and a new aggression and new attitude. And it was very like rock, you know what I mean, or metal.
It was a very punk, like not punk, a very rock attitude on.
Punk too, yeah.
Yeah.
Punk.
Yeah. There was elements of the punk, especially in the fashion aspect of rap.
I mean,
but
that's why it's genius. That's why he has his whole thing. It's because he's so wildly different.
Yeah.
And I mean, even at sometimes you could sit there and be like, it's corny or like he's biting off other stuff or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like he's got a thing and it works.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the whole world talking about like, is he gonna put out this album or not? And a dream of mine would to do the death metal rock type guitar for like a Cardi song.
That'd be sick, bro. You could like you with the ideas you have and also like with the like experience you have and just you could really like shift the scene. Like, you know, you could shift a scene. You could go into like.
I think so. This high praise.
I think if
I'm glad to make a believer out of
dude
McChoppa.
100%. I think like if you just take these ideas and you're like putting these beats out and you're like giving it to your homies who can fulfill the vocal part of it or whatever, I think you could end up like, you know, because you're talking about
getting it out there. Yeah. And I also experimented more of like an EDM influence. Like there's all different waves, and I got to figure out how to get it. But right now it's like, so the single that's coming out at the end of the month is or the end of this month. I don't know when this is gonna be out.
I'm not sure yet because I'm gonna edit this, and I think.
So we're here in January, and hopefully around the end of January, early February, I'll be dropping The Decision, which was produced by me and John Cotton. I did the melodies, and John did the drums.
Hell yeah!
And it's a bombastic, ego-driven, but prideful manifestation song. And it's just lit shit. It's just rock star shit.
Hell yeah.
And it's on like a, you know, kind of like that Uzi, Playboy Cardi inspired stuff.
Right.
And, you know, you got like the fast, like the 16th note hi-hats. And
yeah.
Like super busy synths, which is a huge thing. Is like I bring that technical death metal influence in on the synths of like, all right, we're gonna have it play like it's playing like classical music or something,
right?
Like a bunch of 16th notes or like stuff like that.
That's
and
sick,
I'm super happy about it. It's we got that's what I'm coming out with now, and I'm kind of deciding if I should I have a single called DDR, or if I should do this song Sunday Night. And Sunday Night is like the production of The Decision. It's a similar style of like synth stuff that I do.
Right.
And DDR is a lot more. It's like dance. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's like kinda,
yeah. It gives it like that's dope.
And there's like really cool like vocal chop stuff that me and John did.
Hell
it was
yeah.
my idea, and he kind of brought it to life. He had to do it on Pro Tools, which is like, I feel like most people kind of.
I feel like Pro Tools and Ableton are so
like
intimidating.
I feel like most people would rather, like Aaron does like this vocal chop stuff on
Mhm.
Pro Tools or like on Ableton, and like you could do it on FL too. Me and Friday have worked on a song I produced where he was like doing vocal chops on Ableton.
Yeah, I was thinking of Friday when you said
No,
vocal chops.
excuse me, on FL.
Hell yeah. I wanted to ask, how long have you been playing the guitar?
So I started playing when I was like a kid, like 9 or 10, I think. But I took it seriously around the time I turned like 13.
Okay.
Really like delved into it, almost an everyday thing.
Yeah.
And I feel blessed to have that. I feel like, if I ever have kids, like, regardless of how much they play them, like they're gonna have. I'm gonna make sure like I could buy them a guitar.
So they have the ability to
or
explore
a piano.
it.
What I mean? I would start them with piano lessons because piano gives you a great understanding of music.
Hell yeah.
Like I'm kind of like mid on piano, but I could like write a full song on piano, like virtually.
Yeah, I had a
but
keyboard
I could throw down like a little progression.
Hell yeah.
Just myself.
That's dope, bro. I think it's so cool how, like, the technical ability you have, and also just like your outlook on art and music itself. Because I think like. It's dope. You have a good
I don't
pair.
know, man. My goal is to make as much money as I can, make as much money as I can, have as many good relationships as I can, have sex with the most hoes. No, but make the most money I can. Have the music be recognized and appreciated, and make a lasting experience, and make something of my life. I would love, you know what I mean. I got this gig that I'm working on through this organization that helps like seniors right now.
Yeah.
And hopefully I get it. I'm in the process of applying because I've been in between. The studio work held me down for all of 2024. I was living comfortably.
Nice.
For the most part. You know what I mean? There's no worries. Things got tight as work kind of like, I guess, shrank up around like the holidays into now, early January.
Right.
And so I'm gonna be doing this other gig, and but I would love all of it just to be kind of a vessel to get me to like music full time.
Hell yeah.
Taking care.
That's
of
the
everything.
end goal, man.
Yeah,
and
I would have, again, huge inspiration just because of his work ethic and what he's built at 404 and how good the quality is. But Aaron, Aaron wakes up and he works. There's some days he works every day of the week. You know what I mean? But like. Every day of the week working on music as opposed to like 9 to 5 that you absolutely hate. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a clear-cut decision.
Like, I don't think you would be complaining if you had to do podcasts.
When you walk
twice a day, 6 days a week.
When you walk to the bathroom, I literally was here and I'm like, yo, bro, I like doing the podcast and like for free and shit, but I'm like, it's time to level up and really take this shit serious, you know?
I mean, you have a great personality. You got a great name.
Thank
you. You're willing to have people on, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yo, I be reaching out. I'm trying to have like anybody on, like people who do like outside of music,
Like, for example, on Polarize. I gave them a beat for my cousin Oren, who's, again, like everybody in my family basically is after me, is super talented musically.
Hell yeah.
Oren is an unbelievable producer. Sorry.
No, all good.
Still good.
Yeah, we're good.
Is an unbelievable producer, and he had this kind of like plug and be type beat.
Right.
And I showed it to Lex, or I sent it to Friday, and Lex heard it on Polarize, and he really liked it. And he made bloodstains on my TRUEY jeans.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's my cousin produced that. Isn't that crazy?
That's sick. Hold on.
And that's
What's facing here? Hold on. Okay, sorry.
And he got High C on there. It was like a big song.
That's sick. You produced that?
My cousin.
Your cousin.
Who was like 16 when he made that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a dope song.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Shout out
song.
Lex.
That's my favorite Lex song.
Yeah. Word. It's catchy as hell.
And it's like, you know what I mean? You never know. Like, a song like that, or like with Lex's potential, like, you interviewed them way before that song came out.
Yeah, I did.
And then, like, what if that song came out and then, like, the next day there's someone that you would die to have on the podcast? You know what I mean? You never know.
Yeah.
But that's what I respect about you, is you're here for, like, artists that are at, like, whatever stage of their development in their career and their passion.
100%. 100%. That's literally it. And I realized that sometimes I have moments with the pod where I'm, like, not getting a lot of business, and also I'm just thinking about who I want to interview, and I'm like, oh, like, trying to focus on, like, people I know and names I know, and then sometimes I'll have, like, someone come to me and they'll be like, yo, can I get an interview? And it's like whomever from wherever.
Yeah.
And those end up being, like, not only, like, my favorite interviews, but they end up being the more rewarding ones, because I realize that the smaller artists end up having the more loyal fan base, and
Right, sure.
they bring more, like, attention through to the pod and shit.
I'm still in the process of building a fan base and people that are connected with my music.
Right.
I've had, like, a few people reach out and say, like, they connect with the new song. They're like, yo, that's fire. Like, I have to hear this. I can't wait for this to be out.
Right.
And that's always, like, it's, like, always more than I expect, because I'd be, like, hard on myself, and I don't know if I have, like, being a presence on the internet, like, figured out.
Yeah.
But
100%.
I'm here because I want to, it's almost like we're just hanging out. You know what I mean? I just want to, like, sit down, and you're asking about, like, this is my story, and there's a lot more to it, but, we could get to, what there is, but, it encapsulates it in some sense. You know what I mean? And I'm able to sit here and be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when I played In June for some of my homies, and, like, the other song, they're like, yo, like, why are you rapping? Like, you should be making music like this.
Yeah, but you've been doing.
But I can do that when I'm, like, right now is, like, rap. I've been building to rap. I can put that out. I feel like those songs are, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I sat on something like The Decision, super busy synth song, 16th note hats, fast paced, crazy, like a sonic assault, in 3 years, maybe, like, there might be, like, 30% of rap songs. Or, like, it's already kind of getting like that.
Yeah.
You know what
100%.
I mean? As where this is, I feel like it's timeless. You know what I mean?
100%.
I feel like all my music, I try to make, like, timeless art.
I'm trying to make a classic,
with rap, it's like, you gotta strike while the iron's hot, especially if you have, like, a really good song.
100%. Yeah, you do, because I think rap jumps around sound-wise a lot more than, like, any other genre, Like, rock is kind of set in its way, even though it changes and it progresses with time, but, like, rap is so vastly different than what it started as in such a quick time,
Right. Who knows? Like, the Bloodstains on My True Jeans, Unpolarizer song, like, super plug and be.
Yeah.
What if fucking Summers or Can got on that in the height of their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
There's, like, maybe my beat would, if Cardi got on the Decision beat, or Ken Carson,
right?
Maybe it would be something. But even, to an extent, like, bro, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, nah, I don't really want a dog anyway. Let's just say that, like, there are artists where I fuck with what they're doing now, and, like, what they did before was cool, but, like, it's not something that I would ever put on.
100%. 100%. What's up, Chi-Chi? She's just making
Chi-Chi's
stuff
a
now.
fire name for a cat.
Yeah, it's funny because originally she was my mother-in-law's cat, but then we ended up keeping her.
Yeah, you've never seen me perform, but you would like it, because there is, like, I was super inspired by, like, oh no, don't destroy the mic. There's a band called Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yeah.
You're ever familiar with them?
No.
So they kind of have, like, that punk rock, that kind of thing, like that early G.G. Allen, like, go crazy on stage.
Yeah,
jump in the crowd.
Yeah.
I've had them jump on me when they were playing.
That's
Like,
sick.
craziness.
Hell yeah.
And I always wanted to bring that. Also, my homie Keep My Secrets, he had, like, unreal stage presence and live performance.
Yeah.
And I kind of, like, stole a couple stage moves from him. But you know what I mean? That was, like, for a long time, I was, like, like, very, how would I say? I would say very outspoken rock star energy of, like, I had a set with my boy Boris, who's like death metal guitarist, jamming, Synthreon on the drums.
Right.
He's an unreal talented
Jack of all
gospel
trades.
drummer.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I'm over there like screaming and like jumping around, shirt off, jumping into the crowd, and I'm like, yo, this is like a real, you know what I mean? It's like a real thing.
Hell yeah.
But that's the thing is like with all my new material, I'm like, I could, but like I wouldn't. There's stuff that I would always like love to have a live band set for, but the stuff now is like I just would like seizure lights and I'm just like yelling on stage. You know what
bro,
I mean?
I want to fucking like whenever I think of like my artistic vision, I'm like, yo, I want to tweak. You know, like
Yeah.
it's dope. I think high energy, like I just love high energy.
Yeah, high energy.
Yeah.
But there's a vibe. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
played this like show, and I wish the venue sound system was different or was a bigger venue, but it was an amazing.
Which venue?
I don't know. It was like on top of the end or something in the city. And we were doing it through Jackson Sad and Sky as a, you know, and we all brought like a good amount of people, and we raised.
Yeah.
And we raised a bunch of money.
Oh, you guys were raising money. What was it for? Right?
For the hurricane.
The hurricane. That was dope.
Right. And helping out people, I believe, in North or South Carolina.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're doing the rap sets. I did my set. Astro did their set. Ardor did his set. Jackson did his set.
Yeah.
You know, there might be like 2 other artists that I'm not remembering, and I apologize to you if you somehow see this. But there was this homegirl, Ghost Daughter, and she played like acoustic songs, and she ironically like played like the
Drop D no more.
that song, one of the earliest songs that got me into singing. She was covering,
right,
and her set of like shit that she was doing was unreal.
Nice.
But she just up there singing with a guitar, like being a boss.
Yep. Nothing else.
You don't need to always tweak. You know what I mean?
Right. Because you know what? A lot of the time, especially like when we're so used to like high energy in music nowadays, like especially like with our attention spans being so small and like TikTok shit, you know, I think like everything's super fast now and hyper. When I think sometimes I think most of the time I think less is more. Like you know, when you just go on there quiet and people need to listen because if they're speaking over your quiet performance, they're not going to hear you. And I think those like are cool times and needed times. I think whenever like whoever's booking the fucking show or whatever, I always think it's cool when they like split up the artist into like a good way to keep the momentum of the show nice, you know? Like have a couple lit artists and have someone like that in between. I like that. That's dope. But you know, we'll start heading towards the wrap up of the show.
For sure.
Yeah, which
I feel like we're a little overdue. It kind of it's been a long one, you know?
I think we're hitting the 2-hour mark, which is like where
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
doesn't
where
feel like it whatsoever.
No,
it feels like a tight hour, you know what I mean?
That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like, but which is like that's where I like it. Like my cutoff mark at maximum is like 3 hours. So I'm fine. This is great. This has been a great conversation. But to wrap it up now, we kind of just like, you know, before I hit the last question, is there anything you want to talk about or mention? Because your interview.
Yeah, just like I believe I'll just make sure if you are somehow at the end of this and you're a recording artist and you're willing to step up the quality, Studio 404 NYC at Studio 404 NYC, all spelled out how you'd imagine it to be spelled out, is where I work out of. I do session work, and it's an unreal place to work on your art, and it's really
where dreams come true.
Community centric.
Nice.
Shout out 404. You can catch me. I'm Objectt with 2 T's. Spell object how you think you'd spell object with 2 T's. And throughout the rest of this year, I'm going to be putting out material. I was looking over my catalog. I might even drop twice a month. I'm not sure. I'm going to talk to Staggy about it because he be on that grind. He really be pushing shit.
That's dope.
Yeah, so just getting shit out there. And, you know, hopefully one day become Mikeymcchoppa's favorite artist.
Yo, bro, you're there. I think you're close to it. Especially like, I like abstractness. I like like shit that's out there,
experimental.
But you
that's
know,
why it's Kanye, the biggest influence.
Yeah.
Dude, like he got the dude from Salem on Black Skinhead. Like he always is bringing
different different genres into his production.
Have all of the lights with like huge orchestral stuff.
Yep.
What's
shit was
that one?
gangster.
What's that one song?
Which one?
Boom, boom, gang. It's on Yeezus, bro. It sounds insane. But he's just incredible. So I'd just say, like, that's the biggest inspiration, and it's cool to be someone that's like, I don't have to just look for the right producer or post, like, send beats to this email.
Yeah.
Like, I could take a little charge and, like, and autonomy and also responsibility and be like, yo, I can direct the production, like, from the ground up. Like, what?
Yeah, bro. Having full control is, like, the dopest thing. That's what made me want to, like, step away from YouTube beats and, like, start making my own shit, you know? Because it's like, YouTube beats are cool, but they're always going to kind of go towards, like, a trend of some sort.
Yeah,
or,
and then, like, sometimes you run into a situation where, like, someone else has a song on the same exact beat. And you're kind of, I don't think there's, like, you could not crash out about that, of course. But there's no way to, like, not be like,
it gives you a little hiccup.
You know what I mean?
Especially, like, if the dude fucking bought the beat, and then you gotta, and then you're fucked. But, you know, with all that being said, I fuck with you heavy because I like how, like, educated you are about music and also how experimental you are.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So, in the New York scene, you're definitely high on my radar, for sure.
That's appreciated. Continue to aim to impress, man.
Hell yeah. And now, the last question of the pod, pretty much. Objectt, what do you got going on the next day, week, month, year, century, decade, whatever, millennium? And it doesn't have to be music related. It could be what you're eating for breakfast tomorrow. Just give us a rundown.
I'm going to try to get some more cigarettes after this.
Hell yeah.
Figure out what I'm going to have for dinner.
I'm
not going to see Nosferatu. My friend canceled.
I'm
seeing Nosferatu.
Damn.
But that's okay. I think we're going to see it at some point this week.
Good. Reschedule.
I'm going to listen to my homie Young Basquiat's new unreleased song that he just sent me.
Hell yeah. Shout out Young Basquiat.
Yeah, shout out Young Basquiat. Basquiat needs to come on here.
You know, you mentioned,
sure.
I was about to say, you mentioned so many names today. I would love to have.
I'll absolutely help you. And, yeah. So, obviously, you got to do the 404. Because that's like,
it's in the works.
That's a completely new, that's not like an artist. That's like, Aaron Ardor is an amazing solo artist, but that also, like, he is like,
it's a different vibe.
This is what it's like recording a live band. This is what it's like recording.
Talking about a whole different, like, experience.
This rapper, you know.
Yeah, I'm excited because, again, I really come, like, I do this podcast really, like, selfishly, I would say, like, I want to put people's story out there, and, like, it's dope to put the video out there for people to watch, but I just like listening to people's stories, you know?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a sick
I mean,
one.
I always wanted to kind of do a podcast too, so I feel you. Like, I'm happy you do it, and I'm happy, and I'm even, you know, humbled to be on.
Hell yeah, I'm humbled. Before we go, do you have, like, maybe another song you'd want to perform or something?
Yeah, I guess I'll rip this one.
Might
something. As well.
Yeah, I figured it's a good way to end out the pod.
Clip them too.
Yeah.
If they sound good.
Hell yeah, I would love to. Yeah. Once this footage is done, once I have this footage recorded, I'd love to send you it over.
You gotta get the lyrics up though.
Oh yeah. This is the first.
This is an old.
Well, this is
one.
the second ever because the first ever was probably like an hour ago, half an hour ago. This is the second ever live performance on the Cult of Personality
dude.
podcast.
I guess I really am like a special episode. That's crazy.
This is a special episode. You know, not only is the first episode of season 7, but I've always wanted to have, like, you ever watch the Henry Rollins show? Like his, like, little show.
No, I know that's your goat.
Yeah, that's my goat. And, you know, he does the interviews, but then after the interview, he'll have, like, a fucking band come on and perform, and I like that.
Like an audio tree kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you're ever familiar. How's this one? Let's like the tempo of this one. See, with this one, I'm in the right key, though. I left home when I was young, and I always look back. Lost my soul in a motel off Donaldson, turned 23 in rehab. So I grew up 30 days back in psych wards 3 years back, and I've done so much I can never less alone. Long nights at the party. Strangers helped me so I could stand. There one night on ELLISTON Place, it was cold and I missed your embrace. Miles away from you, I swear I'm in the wrong place. Liquor on my tongue, it burns how I remember the taste. Every move I make a waste. Feel I'm taking up space. God told Noah about the flood, but he didn't tell him about the droughts. I miss the days when some girl was all I had to worry about. You look at me now, but I'm shrouded in doubt. Been looking for the sun, but all there is are these clouds. And I wanna quit, I want to give in. I don't wanna live knee deep entrenched in sin. And you were my kin, the good deed to my sin. Scars beneath my skin, the medicine that kept me standing. There one night on ELLISTON Place, it was cold and I missed your embrace. Miles away from you, I swear I'm in the wrong place. Liquor on my tongue, it burns how I remember the taste. Every move I make a waste. Feel I'm taking up space.
Yo, bro. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, dude. Thanks for having me.
This has been a dope episode. This is probably my favorite episode so far. Yep. I swear to God.
You gotta be lying.
I swear to God. You know, I don't like have like a rank. I don't have like a top 3 or anything. But like when I watch back my interviews, I'm like, this is a good one. This is a good one. I think
type shit.
I'm gonna watch this one back and I'll be like, fucking bang.
I wish we had a little more McChoppa time. I feel like it monopolized.
No, I realized that like McChoppa time's fun and like stuff like that on the pod, but I take a back seat. You know,
McChoppa time.
I think I'm gonna start doing like solo episodes or something like where I just give my commentary. You know, on something. But
you gotta get Kurt Angle on here.
Facts. I gotta get Perk Angle.
CM Punk.
Yo, let me get the CM Punk interview.
About the straight edge superstar.
Facts. Solely off the fact that this whole podcast is branded because of fucking not him technically, but kind of, you know. Tight. But thank you for coming on again. And thank you guys for watching for the last like 2 hours or so. This has been the Cult of Personality podcast.
You made it through. You're the GOAT. Dude.
You're the fucking GOAT if you watch this one fully through, because this is dope. Season 7, episode 1. Thank you guys for watching the whole time and being here and supporting me. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful every day, you know. We'll see you next week with whomever, because I don't know. And
I got you, bro.
Hell yeah. We'll see you next week with Objectt Part 2.
No, I was gonna help you find someone.
No, yeah, I know, yeah. Actually, yeah, we got a couple interviews in the works, so next week we'll have something cool. All right, and Ken Carson next week. Fucking Summers, Can.
Summers, Can. All 3 of you squeezed on the couch.
Everybody, but yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Free Palestine, peace in the Middle East. Whatever else, free Puerto Rico, free all the oppressed people. Fuck U.S. imperialism, gang.